So, with this episode, we come to volume 3 of the Deadpool Classic Edition. And this one's a little more interesting. I like there's a lot more likable issues in this collection. So, we continue on through the Joe Kelly run with issue 9, and it's Deathtrap. We see a bit more of what he does to Blind Al when she's misbehaving, but he puts her in the box. So, uh, this issue is actually kind of like, yeah, it is self-contained for the most part. Typhoid Mary, that part's kind of over. Uh, Weasel and Al know each other now. Like, he'd actually went to go talk to talk to Al about Deadpool dating Typhoid Mary because it was bothering him and he needed someone to talk to, and that was kind of how they first met. There's an interesting, funny scene where Deadpool's having a dream where he's, shaking hands with the president. I announced this to be Deadpool Day and all this stuff, and he's seeing weird flashbacks from his life, and then he wakes up from the dream, and it's actually crazier, because he's been kidnapped by Deathtrap, who's just a bit of a loon, a little nutty. Maybe not quite as nutty as Deadpool. Actually, no, maybe a little nuttier. So it was a nice little issue that kind of sticks on its own, and it was nice to get away from one storyline and just start with another. Um, Issue 10 is one of my favorites. The Great Lakes Avengers. Although they've changed their name more than a few times, but it starts with Road Trip Roulette, which he's gonna play with Blind Al, and they're gonna decide where they go, spin the wheel, and it looks like she does land on Freedom, and then Deadpool just goes, whew, and they're going to the aquarium, and it's just a great, funny issue. We see him again changing several forms so that he looks different. He's got his teleporter device, but the Great Lakes Avengers, they don't get much. Oh yeah, they changed their name mid comic to the Lightning Rods, but yeah, Big Bertha, Flatman, I forget the other two, Mr. I or something like that. But they're sort of like just such sort of reject superhero villains ish, and they're just comical, and it's great. We'll probably never ever see a movie with Big Bertha in it, because I think the plot line or character story is just, it's not that it's offensive, it's just that it's this weird borderline sensitive subject that could just be taken the wrong way, and that's the problem. But it ends with them being trapped in time, and Deadpool and Blind Al went somewhere else in time. Where did they go? To another really good issue, which is they go back in time. Oh yeah, of course the Watcher is there. They go to an actual issue from the 1960s Spider-Man. Now, I talked before about flashbacks that I'm not a big fan of. This one I'm a big fan of. There's something about that style of like the old Spider-Man-y stuff, and Deadpool and Blind Al both look like they're from there. And Blind Al, like at some point, she pretends to be Aunt May when someone's visiting, and it's a great issue. I really liked it. Peter Parker's has some Three's Company-esque moments. He's in the middle of fighting some just ridiculous villain from like 69 or 70 or whenever that was. Um, and it's just great. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed reading this comic, and there's a bit of a bonus at the end of this volume where they actually contain the original source material for this issue. It was an extra long issue with Deadpool and Spider-Man, and I think it has it so that he never runs into Spider-Man, but only Peter Parker. But anyways, it all works out, and they get sent back. They find their friends, and they get sent back through time, and it's all happy, and the Great Lakes Avengers are there, and the Watcher's like, oh, that was fun. But yeah, all in all, I like that, and hold on, at the very end, Yeah, they actually include that issue as sort of a bonus for so you can see that the actual story, and without it being intervened by Deadpool. So look at how much dialogue's on this page for back then. Good God. So begins a bit more of a longer storyline. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I tend not to like when there's really lots of convoluted plots going on at once, but we continue the series. The first few issues were, some fun sort of self-contained issues, and then we get into more stuff with T-Ray and Zoe, and even friggin' Typhoid Mary shows up again. And I was like, I thought I had enough of this. T-Ray's still, of course, butthurt from what happened. Zoe reintroduces herself to try to get Deadpool to join this Mithras directive, and he, tells her off, but that's obviously not the last we've seen of her. Warpath is now dating Siren, and Deadpool meets up with them, and of course he battles with Warpath, and is super upset about it. But he and Siren end up talking and staying up all night, and it ends on kind of a happy note because they express their love for each other. But of course, we all know that will go bad. T-Ray versus... sorry. We now see more of the Mithras directive with the whole... what's the company name? LL and L. And I forget what those all stand for. But of course he's worried, his ex-girlfriend shows up because, he's having fun with... He's having a good life. So, I don't know. There's not... I'm trying to get to the part where, he fights T-Ray, and that leads to, all that Mithras directive is background stuff, because nothing's really happened with it yet. And he fights T-Ray, and T-Ray actually kills Deadpool and leaves him in the snow, and it looks like he might be dead for a bit, and that was their Christmas issue. Or that was their February issue or something. I'm not sure. I don't know if they took a hiatus or something, but then they change, same writer, but completely different illustration team. That's that's Weasel. It turns into this, and it's almost because of the stylistic change. Look, there's T-Ray. It's almost the stylistic change that just gives it this darker tone. And Deadpool's not even in it. They believe he's dead, so we're hearing more from the Mithras directive, and Monty saying that he is the Mithras who's going to protect the Messiah, and the Messiah is so that the Messiah doesn't get killed, and it's some alien invasion or something like that. And, it's just a whole issue without him, and then eventually it shows him coming up from the snow, and he's back. So, I don't know. And then, same animation for the next issue. Zoe eventually finally... at the end of it, it looked like she said, you better come with me now, finally. So he's finally showing off... Zoe is finally showing off to Deadpool what the whole Mithras directive is, and we are introduced to this guy, Dixon, the guy with the triangle on his head. He's kind of the mastermind, the one that's actually keeping Monty locked up and getting all the future prediction information from him. And there's a lot of, I guess, kind of training to see if Deadpool can fight, and for no reason other than it's a comic book and we want to see characters fight. And then that leads to an issue that I feel it's nice because it actually kind of just jumps away a little bit from what's going on, and it's an issue where Deadpool, it's a Deadpool versus Bullseye, right? Yeah. He and Bullseye are at it, and this might be the first time, it's at least the first time in the main series that he and Bullseye are arguing and trying to steal jobs from each other is kind of a running theme that we end up hearing all the time. And then, and they, oh god, look at that. At last, the Mithras revealed. So they don't even tell the storyline of what the Mithras directive is until issue 17. And yeah, so that whole... And that whole run is just them trying to get Deadpool involved, and and he's not sure if he wants to be involved, and he's not sure if he is a hero, which is kind of what Monty is telling him, and kind of what Dixon is questioning. And I don't know. He definitely has a change of heart nearest the end because he doesn't want his fate to be sort of sealed like that. And looks like he just wants to change a new leaf, and he's in overalls and boarding up the box and not going to send her in there anymore. And she's happy, and it looks like he's just about to set her free. And she's like, and then he's like, "Wait, teleport is doing something. Wait, what did you just say? Nothing. Bye." And then he's gone. So it kind of cool. It ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, but there's some good issues in this volume. But again, I'm kind of reading these so that you don't have to. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay cuddly.